Mantras of our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says, an absolute faith and trust in the grace is, in the last analysis, the supreme wisdom. This one may keep all one's life and always. If one has within him faith in the divine grace, that the divine grace is watching over him, and that no matter what happens, the divine grace is there watching over him, this one may keep all one's life and always, and with this one can pass through all dangers, face all difficulties, and nothing stirs, for you have the faith and the divine grace is with you. It is an infinitely stronger, more conscious, more lasting force which does not depend upon the conditions of your physical build, does not depend upon anything except the divine grace alone, and hence it leans on the truth and nothing can shake it. With love and blessing, says our Divine Mother. Words of our Divine Mother. Topic: Faith is a gift given to us by the Divine. Our Divine Mother says, faith is a certitude which is not necessarily based on experience and knowledge. A faith based on material proofs is not faith, it is a bargaining. Faith is spontaneous knowledge in the psychic. Faith, confidence in the divine, and the unshakable certitude of the divine's victory. Faith is the surest guide in the darkest days, in the ignorance and darkness of the beginning. Faith is the most direct expression of the divine power which comes to fight and conquer. Faith is certainly a gift given to us by the divine grace. It is like a door suddenly opening upon an eternal truth through which we can see it, almost touch it. Next subtopic: add faith to a complete trust. Our Divine Mother says another word which seems more limited, but it is for me more important because it is a question of experience. If your faith is not made of a complete trust in the divine, well, you may very easily remain under the impression that you have faith and yet be losing all trust in the divine power or divine goodness or the trust and the divine has in you. These are the three stumbling blocks. Those who have what they call an unshakable faith in the divine and say it is the divine who is doing everything, who can do everything, all that happens in me, in others, everywhere is the work of the divine and the divine alone. If they follow this with some kind of logic, after some time they will blame the divine for all the most terrible wrongs which takes place in the world and make of him a real demon, cruel and frightful if they have no trust. Our Divine Mother says, or again, they do have faith but tell themselves, well, I have faith in the divine, but this world, I see quite well what it is like. First of all, I suffer so much, don't I? I am very unhappy, far more unhappy than all my neighbors, for one is always far more unhappy than all one's neighbor. I am very unhappy and truly life is cruel to me, but then the divine is divine. He is all goodness, all generosity, all harmony. So how is it that I am so unhappy? He must be powerless, otherwise being so good, how could he let me suffer so much? This is the second stumbling block. And the third, says our Divine Mother, there are people who have what may be called a warped and excessive modesty or humility, who tell themselves, surely the divine has thrown me out. I am good for nothing. He can do nothing with me. The only thing for me is to give up the game, for he finds me unworthy of him. So, unless one adds to faith a total and complete trust in the divine grace, there will be difficulties. So, both are necessary. Our Divine Mother says the most important condition in an almost childlike trust, the candid trust of a child who is sure that it will come, who does not even ask himself about it. When he needs something, he is sure that it is going to come. Well, it is this kind of trust, this indeed is the most important condition. Our Divine Mother says, well, when one aspires for the force, when one asks the Divine for help, if one asks with the unshakable certitude that it will come, that it is impossible that it won't, then it is sure to come. It is this kind. Yes, this is truly an inner opening, this trustfulness, and some people are constantly in this state. When there is something to be received, they are always there to receive it. There are others, when there is something to have, a force descends and they are always absent. They are always closed at that moment, while those who have this childlike trust are always there at the right time. Our Divine Mother says it is with the contradictions and doubts of the mind that one spoils everything. With this kind of notion which comes when one is in difficulties, oh, it is impossible, I shall never manage it, and if it is going to be aggravated, this condition I am in, which I don't want to, is going to grow still worse if I continue to slide down further and further like this, and one builds a wall between oneself and the force one wants to receive. Our Divine Mother says the first, faith does not put any questions, does not think of the results. It gives itself entirely. It gives itself, and then that's all. It is something that absorbs one completely. The other may be grafted upon it. Confidence says, yes, I shall participate. Realize what I want to realize. I shall surely take part in this work. The other one has faith in the divine. That is the divine who is all. That it is the divine who is all and can do all and does all, and who is the only real existence. The one gives oneself entirely to this faith, to the divine. That's all. One has a faith in the existence of the divine. One has faith in the existence of the divine and gives oneself, and they can also be grafted upon this a trust then that this relation one has with the divine, this faith one has in the divine, will work in such a way that all that happens to him, whatever it may be, all that happens to him will not only be an expression of the divine will, but also the best that could happen, that nothing better could have happened to him, since it is the divine who is doing it for him. This attitude is not necessarily a part of faith, for faith does not question anything. It does not ask what the consequence of the self-giving will be. It gives itself, and that's all. While confidence can come and say, that's what the result will be. And this is an absolute fact. That is, the moment one gives oneself entirely to the divine, without calculating, in a total faith, without bargaining of any kind, one gives oneself, and then come what may, that doesn't concern me. I just give myself. Automatically, it will be always for you, in all circumstances, at every moment, the best that will happen. Not the way you conceive of it. Naturally, thought knows nothing, but in reality, well, there is a part of the being which can become aware of this and have this confidence. This is something added to faith which gives it more strength. A strength, how shall I put it? A total acceptance, the best utilization of what happens. The divine, our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, He is the one existence. He is the original and universal delight that constitute all things and exceeds them. He is the one infinite consciousness that composes all consciousness and informs all their movements. He is the one illimitable being who sustains all actions and experience. His will guides the evolution of things towards their yet unrealized but inevitable aim and plenitude. To him, the heart can consecrate itself, approach him as the supreme beloved, beat and move in him as in a universal sweetness of love and a living sea of delight. For his is the secret joy that supports the soul in all its experiences and maintains even the errant ego in its ordeals and struggles till all sorrow and suffering shall cease. His is the love and the bliss of the infinite divine lover who is drawing all things by their own path towards his happy oneness. On him, the will can unalterably fix as the invisible power that guides and fulfills it, and as a source of its strength. In the impersonality, this actuating power is a self illumined force that contains all results and calmly works until it accomplishes. In the personality, an all wise and omnipotent master of the yoga, whom nothing can prevent from leading in to its goal. This is the faith, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo. This is the faith with which the seeker has to begin his seeking and endeavor. For in all his effort here, but most of all in his effort towards the unseen, mental man must perforce proceed by faith. When the realization comes, the faith, divinely fulfilled and completed, will be transformed into an eternal flame of knowledge. These are the words of our Lord Sri Aurobindo. Next subtopic, guidance to sadhaks. Our Divine Mother says, at every moment, all the unforeseen, the unexpected, the unknown is before us, and what happens to us depends mostly on the intensity and purity of our faith. It is only by remaining perfectly peaceful and calm with an unshakable confidence and faith in the divine grace that you will allow circumstances to be good as they can be. The very best happens always to those who have put their entire trust in the divine and in the divine alone. All the circumstances of life are arranged to teach us that beyond mind, faith in the divine grace gives us the strength to go through all trials, to overcome all weaknesses, and find the contact with the divine consciousness, which gives us not only peace and joy, but also physical balance and good health. At the very moment when everything seems to go from bad to worse, it is then that we must make a supreme act of faith and know that the grace will never fail us. Our Divine Mother says people do not know how important is faith, how faith is miracle, creator of miracles. If you expect at every moment to be lifted up and pulled towards the divine, he will come to lift you, and he will be there quite close, close, ever closer. These are the words of our Lord Sri Aurobindo and our Divine Mother, taken from the All India magazine of September 2008.